This is my review of Beach Boys' album Carl and the Passions, So Tough. It was released in 1972 and produced by the Beach Boys. So this album I have on vinyl here, which I bought a couple months ago. I just ordered it offline. And the first version of it I got here was the CD2 for With Holland, which is kind of, it's the only, I think the only one of the two versions that comes with two discs. Probably because Holland has the Mount Vernon and Fairway fairy tale thing with it that came with the record also. The vinyl version though of Carl and the Passions originally came with Pet Sounds with it. My version has Pet Sounds. I don't want to take it out of the thing just because it's a pain, and I'm filming this after work and it's really late and I'm tired. So yeah, it has Pet Sounds though, and that was actually when I reviewed Pet Sounds. I listened to this version. So yeah, pretty cool vinyl. But anyway, kind of sorry, half asleep, kind of rambling. The album itself, when I first got it, paired with Holland, I definitely liked Holland better. I can't imagine that pairing it with Pet Sounds did it any help when it was released, because I'm sure people listened to it and listened to Pet Sounds and was like, wow, this isn't good. But I think that it really is a good album. And I don't know, when I got it, I didn't get it. It took me a while to kind of get into this album. I think it's probably because it's really different sounding from the Beach Boys. The band was changing quite a bit at this point, I feel like. Bruce Johnston, I'm not sure if he's on this album or if he left before it or after it was complete, but he left sometime around this point. I'm not sure if he was fired or quit, but I think it was just several creative differences or whatever. But he doesn't have a song on this album, which he's had songs on the past few albums. And also there's two new members of the band at this point, Blondie Chaplin and Ricky Fataar. I'm not sure if I'm saying their last names right. If I'm mispronouncing them, sorry. These guys are kind of like the two members of the band I know the least about, because really they're only on, I think, like 3 albums. They're on this one, Holland, and there's a live album also. And I'm not really sure how long they were in the band altogether, but kind of the two kind of almost forgotten members, along with like David Marks, I guess. So Blondie plays and sings guitar, or plays and sings guitar. I mean, plays guitar and sings, and Ricky plays drums. So Dennis at this point had, I guess, injured his hand, which basically took him out as a drummer for a couple years. And Ricky Fataar is actually pretty much technically a better drummer than Dennis. So he has some pretty cool moments, I think, on this album playing. So the first song on the album, You Need a Mess of Help to Stand Alone, is a song by Brian and Jack Riley, the manager. This song, I honestly didn't know that this song was a song written by Brian for a long time. I kind of thought it was a Carl song, because Carl sings lead, I'm pretty sure. But it's definitely a cool song. One that I think that I liked right away. I can remember listening to this album the first time I ever listened to it. Like, I remember it very clearly. But I can't remember what I thought of all the songs. Some of them I can, some of them I can't. This one I can't really, but now I really like it. I think it's a really strong opener. Just doesn't sound a lot like the typical kind of Beach Boys sound. But I think that's cool that they were still, at this point, kind of pursuing different things and stuff like that, because that does kind of stop after Holland, kind of. The second song, Here She Comes, is a song by Ricky and Blondie, so the two new guys in the band. Another one that doesn't sound a lot like any other Beach Boys songs really up to this point. But it's one that I liked the first time I heard it. I just think it's a catchy song. I think I like the singing. I think it's Blondie singing the lead. Just a pretty cool song. I like Ricky's drumming on it a lot. Just pretty cool song. The third song, "He Come Down," is an Al, Brian, and Mike song. This one I didn't like when I first heard it. I don't know, I think it was because it has a line about like the Maharishi in it, and I just at the time I was getting into the Beach Boys and listening to these albums, I always just hated anytime they went into anything that was talking about transcendental meditation or Maharishi or anything. Anytime they did anything like that, I just kind of hated it for some reason. But now it doesn't bother me. I actually think that the song's a really good song. Just the music is really great. Just great vocals, and there's this cool cool piano kind of going throughout. I think it's Brian, but I'm not sure. And because like Brian's involvement at this point, like I always I guess kind of thought it was less than what it was because I never thought that the first song on the album was by Brian. But he's definitely at this point in the band kind of like not there as much. And it's also this album kind of has a weird sound to it because it's like they're almost kind of making the songs in like different factions, which I'll kind of get to with some of the later or with one of the later songs. The fourth song, Marcella, by Brian, Jack Riley, and another I can't read my own writing here. Some other person, and this I think is actually probably my favorite song on the album. I can't really think of a whole lot to say about it because I don't know. Sometimes when I really like something, I just can't think of a lot to say about it. But I think it's a really catchy song. Probably the most like instantly memorable song for me on the album. They played it live when I saw them actually they played two songs from this live when I saw them in 2012, and this one was really cool. It was cool, definitely really cool to see it live, and yeah, definitely my favorite song on the album. The fifth song, "Hold On Dear Brother," another Ricky and Blondie song. I can't read my writing on here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I liked this the first time I heard it, maybe. But I'm not honestly sure now that I think about it. Like I wrote that I don't remember liking it, but I can't remember honestly now. But I think it has a great vocal from Blondie, and it's a really cool steel guitar that I think might be Ricky playing. At least that's what Wikipedia said because I checked the article before looking at this or making this. The sixth song, "Make It Good," Dennis song, and this is kind of where like you can definitely tell that like Dennis kind of seems to be kind of off doing his own thing compared to the other songs because it doesn't sound a lot like anything else on their album really. But I do think it fits. Like strangely, this album, I think that from what I was reading about the reviews at the time and stuff, people said it lacked cohesion. But I've always thought that it sounds like it fits together very well, and the way the tracks are all sequenced and stuff just works really well for me. And I don't know, even when I didn't like this album that well, I thought it flowed really well. So it is. I mean, it does, especially like on this song, sound like he's kind of off on his own a little bit, but just the way it's in with the album, it just fits for some reason, in my opinion. But yeah, it's kind of a weird song, kind of hard to describe. It's really more of like this. I don't know. To me, it's like it's not like structurally like a normal song that much, as in like it doesn't have. I don't know. It just doesn't have like a really memorable like hook part. It just kind of is like this like emotional voyage with this like orchestration, and the music kind of like swells at different points and stuff. And it's cool. I like it. I wasn't really into it that much when I first heard it, which is unusual for a Dennis song, really. But definitely now it's something I appreciate more, and something kind of on repeated listens, what he's doing kind of becomes more impressive. The seventh song, All This Is That, sung by Al, Carl, and Mike. And this one I really hated the first time I heard it. And this is the other song that they played when I saw them live. And I still wasn't really into it then. Just hadn't gotten into it yet. Now I actually like it. And I think the chorus used to annoy me kind of, but now I like it. I still kind of like the verse parts better, but definitely kind of a really pretty song, and one that I can appreciate more. But yeah, just whenever they, like, something about the songs that they were trying to do the whole like spiritual thing with used to just annoy me. The eighth song, Cuddle Up, another Dennis one. This one kind of similar to Make It Good in that it doesn't really sound like the rest of the stuff on the album, but it does have this kind of like, I don't know, kind of orchestration sound that he has this kind of like epic sounding quality to it that kind of makes it, I think, a good closer. I think he gives a really good vocal on it, and this is kind of the last album before his voice starts getting like really rough. So the next, he doesn't have a lead vocal on Holland, but then like his lead vocal on the album after that are pretty rough, and so are Brian's. But it's also kind of a little bit, I think, more catchy and memorable on like the early listens than Make It Good. Like, this song's a little more, I don't know, like memorably structured, but it does have this long kind of part in the like instrumental part in the middle that used to kind of lose my attention, but doesn't really now. So Carl and the Passions, I would say back probably when I first listened to this album, I would have given it like, I don't know, like a 3 out of 5. For me now, it's definitely a 5 out of 5. I think, which I know my ratings are kind of all over the place, but I guess giving the number ratings is just kind of, it's something I'm not really, I don't know, I'm rambling now, but I'm never like, I'm always like, maybe I'm overrating this, but you know, I like every song on it a lot, and I think it flows really well. I just think it's a really good album. Definitely better than Surf's Up, I think, the album before, which actually outperformed it a lot. This, I think, was one of their lowest selling albums at the time or something. I think it was the lowest selling on whatever record label they were on at this point. But yeah, it's definitely a cool album that I think is worth checking out. Doesn't sound a lot like the Beach Boys, but you know, it's cool that they were doing that. I think that they were trying different musical directions, and that they weren't just doing the same thing over and over again at this point, because that definitely starts to happen later.